We're checking in for the first time in 2024 with the State Representative Andrew Fink for the very latest on what's happening in Lansing, and actually not much happening in Lansing right now. You guys didn't have anything on the docket last week. What about this week? Any prediction? Will you go back and try to do anything right now?
Hey, Ken, good morning. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, well, so last week was the week that the legislature reopened for the year under our state constitution, the second Wednesday of January. So there typically isn't too much on the docket that week. But the unique circumstances right now, as I know you know, is that the House of Representatives is tied at 54. And, of course, that is a part of what influenced us to have been out of session since last November. And so the question now is kind of what's it going to look like, because in order to reset the leadership and the agenda in the House, we would have had to have gone to not just a tie, but a new majority, which hasn't happened. Instead, there's just parity. Although some members of the former majority are still insisting that it's a majority. There's 54 on each side, and I'm not a math genius, as I know you know, but I know 54 and 54 are the same. So there's not a majority-minority right now in the House of Representatives.
Yeah, for people who don't realize that it was because two Democratic representatives stepped down, they were elected mayors of their cities, so that leaves those open vacancies. Elections for those are coming up, next month, right?
The primary, I think, is this. Now I forget. I think the primaries are this month, and the general election will be in April.
Okay, all right. So there's a little time there that those would stay unfilled. Are you hearing anything from those two districts? I mean, would they stay Democrat? Would they go Republican? Or does it's still a coin toss right now?
I don't know. I know that there are candidates from both parties in both of those seats, Ken, but I don't have any kind of polling data or anything to suggest which direction they're going to go. Of course, they were Democrat seats before. So for the next 3 months or so until April, we know it's going to be tied. That's just the House, and so life goes on in the Senate, and so there will be some one half of the legislature hasn't experienced this kind of odd tie circumstance. So, and even if they did, of course, they have the lieutenant governor to break ties, and the House doesn't have a function like that. So, we'll see how it goes. I do think it's important that, it's in my mind, this is an opportunity. I know I lamented on our calls last year that when you have a bare majority, 56-54, and yet the most partisan legislature in decades and decades, I think by some measures since the 1800s, you've really lost the opportunity to gain the benefit of the whatever wisdom the 54 members have. But of course, those people represent close to 5 million people in our state, and so you've not only lost whatever benefits you get, you've also told the people in very close to half the state that their representative's voice is going to be silenced, meaning their voices are going to be silenced. That's what representative government is like. The voters speak through their votes on Election Day, and then they expect their representatives to speak for them. And the system overall does work better when every member is able to represent their districts fully. And I haven't had any issues with being vocal about what I think the interests of my districts are. But I also think it's unfortunate that the majority and now the parity who happens to have control, they so far have not really been able to take account of opinions outside their own caucus.
All right. So Representative Andrew Fink on the line with us today. Next week, the governor with her State of the State message. I guess maybe two things. Any ideas what she's going to say? And two, what things would you like her to say in that State of the State?
Well, she's kind of committed herself, I think, to focusing on this population issue. And so she put together the council that we've discussed a handful of times, including the unfortunate absence of representation from our area in what would have been Senator Lindsay's input, had she been willing to appoint him. And so I think that she'll probably address some of the ideas, if you want to call it that the commission put forward. And and as I've said before, I think the problem is that those ideas are essentially, warmed over versions of things that have been tried before, and none of them aggressively change the landscape for prosperity here in Michigan, and that's what you have to do. So if you want to get taxes on par with the growing states, get regulations on par with the growing states, get energy rates on par with the growing states, then I think you're being serious. And until then, I'm more skeptical. And so, and the state continues to lose population. I haven't seen numbers from 2023 yet, but I don't know why the trend of our state losing population would have changed last year based on anything we've done in the state.
All right. So we'll see what that happens. That's next Wednesday. She has that State of the State message in Lansing, and they do that in the House chamber, right?
Yes.
All right.
Yep.
So you'll have a front row seat for it. Andrew, thanks for checking in this morning, and we will, I guess, next time we touch base, she'll have issued that State of the State message, and we'll have a chance to break it down. Have a wonderful week. Stay warm, all right?
Yeah, go Lions.
Yeah, there you go. That's 35th District State Representative Andrew Fink.